so nervous, and I'm a novice. I appreciate being here.
Just breathe and
yes.
relax and feel lucky for getting called on, and compliment yourself on having a pointed enough desire and a close enough proximity to it that you can hear it easily, and acknowledge that it's a good time to receive and that everyone will benefit by this unfolding.
Yes,
and,
I like the feeling and the emotion. You hit upon it with the teaching. A lot of my life revolves around a very difficult 19-year-old daughter who's had a difficult path. And I want to be there for her. It's like using my intuition to know when to teach and when to just be quiet and be in the pain of what the moment is. And that's a big part of my life. And
well, if you're not sure, err in minding your own business. Because here's something that we know. Let's say that your life is going pretty well, and on most subjects, you're feeling pretty good. And let's say you have someone important in your life who is having a hard time. So you're basically on two different vibrational wavelengths, so much so that you can't hear each other. You don't understand where she's coming from, and she doesn't understand where you're coming from, and when you force it, it's just not fun for either one of you. But you can watch someone and recognize what desires are being born within her out of the desire that she's living, and you can fixate by going there mentally, even though you can't go there by observing her, and you can use what she's living and the desires that you believe that she's launching as your object of attention and as your reason for lining up with source energy. In other words, you can actually become blissful over anticipating good things for someone who currently is living nothing even close to those better times. And when you do that, now you are of enormous value to them, because what happens is you activate inside of you the very best of them. So when law of attraction puts you together, you're going to have a better experience, because the only thing that's active in you is the best of them. If you're sloppy in your thinking, if you just look willy-nilly at whatever she's living, she's up, she's down, she's all around, so that you let her life control your vibrational nature about her, now law of attraction is going to bring you together for the good, the bad, and the ugly. In other words, you're going to be there during all of it, where you want to be there only for the best of it vibrationally.
right, I try to contain it and think of the good. I just worry about when it's some dangerous thing that she may be doing.
Well, here's what we know about that. If you suspect there's something dangerous that she's doing and you warn her, you contribute to the danger, you don't take away from it. If you believe that there's something that she might be doing that is danger, and it frightens you so much that it takes you to your knees, in the middle of that, you launch a rocket that you want to go with. In other words, you want to begin envisioning outcomes as you want them to be, and that's the way you influence her to improved life experience. You all know that. Have you ever had anyone come right up to you and tell you that you should do something different, and don't you just do it the way they don't want you to do it, just in order to make a statement for your freedom?
Yes.
Of course you do. And so what you want to do, and it's not easy, do you see this person every day?
Several times a week.
And why several times a week?
Just because she's 19, but in her, she's developmentally behind a bit, and she is in her own apartment because she broke the rules in her house, so she's in her own apartment, so I want to stay connected with her.
All right, so we want to rework the wording of that. She broke what rules?
Oh, drinking and drugs and curfews.
But who was the offerer of the rules?
My husband and myself.
So she broke house rules.
Yes.
And so now she is living out of the house.
Correct.
So we would use different words. We would say she found her freedom by breaking rules that set her free.
Even though she vacillates back and forth to appreciate being free, back to angry that she's not under our roof.
Well,
you know.
of course, it's sort of like so many relationships. In other words, people like the security of marriage and hate the bondage of it. In other words, and what you finally come around to understanding is that the situation or the container, seeming container, the situation, isn't the reason for the way you feel. It's your mental approach to it that is the reason for the way you feel. In other words, we applaud her for breaking enough rules that she was set free. Now, you can say she was thrown out because she broke the rules, and we would say she did the inevitable. Very often, children will do that. If you want to be free and you are living in an environment, now here's what we can feel around all of this. You're very well-meaning in this, but you see her as behind in terms of development and have for a long time. And so as you see her in that way, whether you use the words about that or not, that is the vibrational offering that you are offering. And that doesn't feel very good to anyone. You see, the thing that we're wanting all of you to understand is that the only measurement that is of any importance or value is the conscious awareness of where I am in relationship to where I want to be. If I'm being compared to anybody else, it's impossible for me to discover a guidance that will work. And so she's been compared to this one and this one and this one and this one. And the worst part about all of that is in the comparison, she has been determined to be substandard in some ways, which no one, we don't care how they are living or who they are or how they might be compared by the outside world. No one is substandard to anything. There are so many people who have been misunderstood by the world or not understood by the world or even deemed inappropriate by the world who have been genius in their own unique way. And so all that anyone ever should measure themselves against is their own desire. So now she knows all of this on some levels and was guided by her source to come this way, come this way, come this way. So we'll sort of play the scenario out. So in her depression, she was called by source into something that felt better than depression, which from your interpretation was a breaking of a whole bunch of rules.
Right.
And then she was thrown out of the house, which was also part of source's calling. In other words, because she's not ever going to get out into the light as long as she's in that place where she isn't compared to any other, you see. So then she escaped, and do not misunderstand, you are doing anything that any loving mother would do. But so then she escaped from the constant scrutiny into an environment that is not much less than constant. And what we would encourage you to do is see her as on her way to her autonomy and trust that she has guidance within her that you can trust, and then watch for evidence of that.
And we need to have boundaries. You know, she always wants from us, and she's going to have to learn how to be on her own and not keep asking us for everything as a crutch.
Here's the thing that's interesting about that, because parents, as you see your children, you see yourselves, you identify yourselves to them as the vortex through which their well-being will flow. You feed them, you clothe them, you house them, and not only that, most parents want to educate them in terms of the way they should think about things too. In other words, you want to be the vortex through which they learn this life. And so you set it up that way, and they learn it and learn it and learn it and learn it, and then one day you say, oh, well, now I don't want to be the vortex through which your well-being flows. You need to go find another vortex, and we say it's a bit abrupt. Jerry and Esther, for a while, had the wonderful benefit of having what they called their bird herd. It was a group of chickens in the chicken yard, and they loved watching these chickens. And one day, Henny Penny, a little black chicken, was herded by Big Bird, a big black rooster who looked just like her, only much, 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 much bigger. Big Bird herded Henny Penny over into the corner behind the air conditioner and stood there until she laid her egg. Ordinarily, she would lay her egg in the nest, but he would not allow it on this day. So she laid her egg behind the air conditioner, and Jerry and Esther saw it happen. The next day, Big Bird herded Henny Penny back over behind the air conditioner where she laid another egg. And for 21 days, that rooster herded that little hen over there until she had laid 21 eggs. And then when she tried to leave, he wouldn't let her. He insisted that she stay there and sit on those eggs. So she finally gave in to his insistence and sat on the eggs, and he would go gather things and bring them to her to eat. And she sat there for 21 days before the first egg hatched. And of those 21 eggs, 7 little black chickens with little brown feet came out. Now, it is glorious to watch because these little fur balls are so adorable, and Mother is so interested in them. And every moment she is tending to them. She is herding them and picking for them and digging for them. And she would dig a little and they would rush in, and then she would dig a little and they would rush in. And Esther was amazed that they weren't trampled by Big Mother and her big feet because these were such little tiny birds. And it was so fun to watch. And then one day, the little birds gathered all up around their mother, waiting for her to dig so that they could get something. She just pecked them on the head. And Esther said, Henny Penny, that is not very nice of you. These are your little children. They are waiting for you to give them something to eat. And she pecked them on the head. And the more dependent they were, the more she pecked them on the head, until finally they said, all right already, we get it. You're going to peck us on the head as long as we stay anywhere near you. And so they went off a little way away from her where she kept a watchful eye. But she never again dug up anything for them to eat. And we say, Henny Penny is a perfect parent. In other words, at a very early age, she fostered their independence, and nobody ever likes it on the first day.
Yes. My husband is still fostering this dependency, so I just have to keep my focus on what I want to see happening, and
You do, and
hope that
it's
he
harder
will
for
fall in
you
line.
because he threw her out but keeps her dependent. In other words, that's an impossible place for her to be. It's like, come here but don't come too close. Come here to, in other words, now keep our rules from a distance.
And I can't force him to see it another way. I just have to do my own journey of focusing how I would like it to be and what I intend for her.
Well, look at it this way. There isn't anything wrong with the way he is seeing her, because he wishes that something that the two of you, you and your mate, have in absolute common is you both want with all of your might well-being for this beautiful girl. There is no question about that. And you can express it vibrationally, whether you express it through actions or not. And we just want to say to you that as you relax a little more, there is some work for you to do, because you've been beat up pretty good in all of this too. In other words, she is not an easy girl to live with. It has not been an easy thing for you. You know, the torment that we feel within you is that you expect of yourself that you should always have that blissful mother's love. When somebody is being such a rascal, nobody could love her. You didn't say as you came forth into this body, I will look at something unlovable and I will love. What you said is, love is so natural for me, I'll look around for things to love. And daughter of mine, you're not it today. And that doesn't make me bad that I'm not able to love you. That's like going to the smorgasbord and picking the most god-awful thing and putting it in your mouth and then being mad at yourself that you don't like it. In other words, it doesn't taste good. Of course you don't like it. Pick something that tastes better. And don't beat up on yourself because that doesn't taste good to you. Just pick something that tastes better, you see. And as you make peace with yourself about this and stop holding yourself to impossible criteria, and instead say, I want to love, and oh boy, are there many, many things about you that I love, and make lists of those things and activate the things that you love so much until that's the dominant vibration that's playing in your vibration all day, every day. What will begin to happen is your relationship with your daughter will become transformed, but you will be the one who sets the tone of how it is. So now think about it. See yourself as a tone setter, or as our dear friend says, as an influencer, as an uplifter, as a motivator, as an inspirer. So imagine yourself seeing her flawed and behind, and imagine that that's the vibration that you're offering. Not too much uplifting going on there, is there? But imagine yourself seeing her as bright and the potential in her, and you're remembering the good times, and that's what's activated within you. Now can you feel what you're causing to be activated within her? If you could see this world vibrationally as we do, we'll give you a sort of description. So there'll be someone like Jerry or Esther or so many of you who will walk into a space, and you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and so you're offering a vibration. And we see this visually. We are describing the vibration of it visually to help you get a better picture of it. So they walk into a space, and there's all kinds of energy around. It could be a grocery store. It could be driving into a city. It could be a restaurant. So there they are offering their vibration, and there are all kinds of people around that are vibrating at different places, and some of them are right on the brink. Some of them are right on the brink of being right where Jerry and Esther are. And just being near them vibrationally, in the vibrational proximity of them, puts them right over the edge. So that suddenly a cluster of joy is sort of surrounding them in traffic, in a restaurant, in a grocery store. Then let's say that there's someone in that vicinity that is nowhere near their vibration. And their vibration is really strong that way. And now law of attraction is bringing them this one and this one and this one. So now they are overtly basking, overtly playing, overtly offering the vibration of it. And so now here's this person over here that's nowhere near them vibrationally. And now law of attraction has set up such a force field that that person, even if they wanted to walk into that space, could not get into that space. In other words, law of attraction just does not allow, because Jerry and Esther have dominated the space with such powerful well-being that something that doesn't match it can't get in.
Okay, so I have to keep that space of the good I see in her. See, I start every encounter that way, and then it starts to be her negative energy, so I have to keep holding it.
Here's the thing that we want you to understand. You've never really cleaned your vibration up completely because you're too close to it and you have too many memories. It's the hardest thing for a mother to do. It would be much easier for a stranger to do. That's why she gravitates to strangers and seems to enjoy them even more than she does her own family sometimes. You all understand that. But the thing that we want you to hear here is that let's say that you do clean up your vibration and you make lists of positive aspects and you just get into that wonderful space. Then you might start feeling uncomfortable that your daughter isn't coming to you because you've cleaned your vibration up so well that she can't get in. And that, dear friend, is what has kept you from cleaning up your vibration. When you find out she won't come to you, you muck up your vibration so that you can go to her. And then you have a mucky, yucky experience, and then you blame her for it. Where what we're suggesting is stay over here in this good space and expect her to come to you. She will, we promise you. Stay over here in the good space about her, and she'll come to you, because everybody wants to hear how much you love them. Everybody wants to hear how beautiful you think they are. Everybody wants to feel that. And when that is what is in your vibration, you will evoke that knowing from her. And that is what uplifting is.
Yes, I do it as long as I can. I hold it as long as I can, and then I finally have to let the play date be over.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. We just wanted to explain it to you, because if you do a better job of getting yourself there before the play date begins, you'll have a better chance of maintaining it longer. Most of you don't even try to clean up your vibration until you're faced with something that reminds you it needs to be cleaned up, and then it's too late for this moment. In other words, now you just have to sort of write it out and make a better plan for next time.
Yeah, I start out great, and I hold it for a good period of time.
Then have shorter times together.
Yeah, and
dart,
keep it on a positive
dart in,
note.
feel good, get out. Dart in, feel good, get out. Dart in, feel good, get out.
Yeah.
Dart in, feel
That's
good,
it.
get out.
Yep. Perfect.
And do this with everyone in your life, and eventually what you let people around you know is, I want so much to feel good, and law of attraction will bring us together when we are feeling good, and law of attraction will not bring us together when we are not feeling good. And when either one of us forces the interaction for any reason less than because law of attraction has brought us together, it's not good.
Perfect.
It never feels good.
Thank you so much.